cooking. And so today I just decided that I would try to put together an old-fashioned homemade cake. This particular recipe was formulated actually by my wife's mother, and it's an unusual cake recipe because rather than using all-purpose flour, this particular recipe calls for self-rising flour. So we're going to try to put it together. I've got all of my ingredients already pre-measured, and we're going to try to put this cake together this afternoon and see how it turns out. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to beat together 4 eggs. These eggs are at room temperature, and so I'm just going to go ahead and put them in one by one and turn the mixer on. Now you may or may not crack your eggs into a separate dish, but I just have always done that just because I like to make sure that nothing's wrong with the egg before I put it into whatever I'm cooking. Also, that helps me to make sure that there's no shell in the egg. All right, to the 4 eggs that we're whipping together, mixing. We're going to add 2 cups of granulated white sugar. 2 cups of granulated white sugar. That go for just a few minutes. Now that seems to be nice and incorporated, this recipe calls for 3/4 of a cup of oil, 3/4 of a cup of oil. We'll let that go a few minutes as well. That looks really good. And now this recipe calls for 2.5 cups of self-rising flour, 2.5 cups of self-rising flour, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put about half of that in, and let that beat a little bit. also calls for 2 cups of milk, and I'm going to put about half of that in as well. Now I'm going to add the other half of my dry ingredients. The other half of my dry ingredients. Go ahead and add the rest of my wet ingredients. All right, everybody, as you can see, the cake is out of the oven. It has been cooling for about maybe 30 minutes. And while the cake has been cooling, I have made old-fashioned 7-minute icing. And so we are now going to go ahead and we're gonna put the 7-minute icing on the cake, and then we're going to cover the icing with coconut. So we'll see you back here in just a few minutes, let you see the finished product. All right, everybody, I wanted you to take a quick look at the finished product. This is a homemade coconut cake with 7-minute icing, and I will post the entire recipe for those of you that might be interested in trying this out. It is a very, very delicious cake, and it would be a compliment to any meal that you serve your family or friends.